Okay, and welcome back. We have the quarterfinal match from WCS Valencia. Like last time I streamed, I was doing all the matches Has had in the first couple rounds. We're going to continue that today. Continued to see his run from WCS Valencia a couple months ago. Probably finish up the matches today. But now, as you see, the good luck have fun's going out. We've got our blue Zerg player in the top left, it's Nerchio. And in the top right, we've got the red Protoss, Has. Excited to see this match. It's a best of 5, and it goes all 5 games this time. So we're in for a bit of a long ride. Most of Haz's series went the distance. Somehow makes the cheese work all throughout the series, which is difficult. He's one of the few players that does it. Only a few others like him. Sometimes people compare him a little bit to SOS, but he's certainly not as mechanically gifted as SOS. He's just, somehow his strategies, they sort of cheat and work for him. He doesn't always need to be the better player in terms of just pure mechanical skill. He outthinks them not by playing a macro game, but playing these unique strategies. But here it looks like he's going to play a little bit more standard than normal. He's going to start off with the Nexus early on, before the Cybernetics core. And on the other side, we do have the first base taken for Nerchio, and the first Overlord sent across. As a standard, that second Overlord, though, is going to spot for the third, at least the potential third. Could also take the safer base in the back. See what he opts to do, but sort of standard on this map for a little bit has been taking the first base outside instead of taking the safe base in the back, as you sort of lose some of the safety in case you do get pressured early on. You can still expand to that third base. But here, a double gas take. Sometimes we see Has just sit on one gas or two gas for longer than normal, but he is going to take the second one at normal speed and grab that Stalker to deny that Overlord scouting. Not going to send an Adept across. So he's playing pretty safe, pretty standard here, as we got the second Nexus finishing up in a minute. And our first tech building will be a Twilight Council for Has. Obviously loves his charge lots. See the second base starting mining here. And pull off the gas after that Zergling speed is started. So probably not a Roach Ravager all in anytime soon. So he's going to be sticking on just that limited gas income for now as Nerchio. As we see a Zergling chasing down a probe. Denying that scouting. We'll take the third, but we'll take it in the back in the sort of safe second base behind the main. I would say, 16-bit certainly not a map Has, I think, likes too much, because it is one of those maps where you can get a safer expansion up, and he certainly wants to play those 1 to 2 base games. And this Overlord will get a spot on this Twilight Council, so important information going down here. Also spotted this Robo going down. And let's see if he got vision on this. Did not see the 2 gateways going down, so that's important information. And the Observer will come out now. Gas did not the ding for Has. Just sitting on the 2 now. And yeah, adding on quite a few gateways here. And a Forge as well, so perhaps going for some early upgrades. And the Observer will be sent across to get some information here. Second gases will be taken here, or 2 and 3 gases for Nerchio. And it will be the Roach Warren, so he is going for at least some roaches. But it's definitely more of a delayed hitting a timing at 7-8 minutes or something like that, as we see some Zerglings just spotting out what Has is doing around the map. Just keeping those around. Not even worrying about microing them so much, just having them there to see if Has does move out or decides to take an expansion somewhere. And will be ground weapons level 1 coming out. Not the armor first. And just going for the single Forge. So just going to probably just upgrade weapons. It's useful to have a little bit of armor later on in the game when you do get those, big mass charge lots. You actually want to get onto the enemy So having some armor would be good, but Haz is not one of those players who gets armor very often. Sometimes he just builds weapons and a bunch of charge lots, and they get in. Building Immortals now is Haz, as we get a little bit of a drop here with the charge lots and the Warp Prism. Or, well, charge will be completed. Charge has been completed, so they are charge lots now. But using this Observer and the Warp Prism with the Zealots in it to actually take out a bunch of the creep. If you're going to die... Ooh, the Observer will go down. Stuck up with those Queens, and is going to get that creep spread again. But you can use the Observer and the the charge lots, just have them drop in and deny that creep spread. And now the Zealots are moving in. And they're going to deny some mining time and a couple drone kills. Not a ton of damage, but does force the Queens over, so they're not injecting or spreading creep at the moment. And a decent amount of damage there as a third Nexus does go down along with Shield Battery. So not too many units on the board here for Haz, at least compared to his normal games. As one Zerling does come in to try and scout. We'll see the third Nexus and the battery, but not much else. Doesn't get in and see any more of the tech or how many gateways are up. And there's quite a few gateways here. And not quite... There we go. Now transforming into Warp Gates. And no more Immortals being made by Haz. I think he's just going to transition into more charge lots here. This might be a timing he's looking for. He does have ground weapons level 1 completed. We'll see what the hallucination gets momentarily. As he is going to warp in a few more. Hallucination will spot things out. Sees the 4 Queens at the back. And not very many drones mining on that base. So we'll see what happens here. As this is a pretty big push from Haz, but it's already been walled off. The Roaches and Ravagers are here with a couple Queens. Finding a hard time getting through, but Haz is getting... It's a good force field to stop those Roaches. Some of them in the back are not DPSing. The Warp Prison coming in, going to warp in a couple more Zealots. Burrow is almost going to be completed here, which could be a big turning point. And now the recall is going to come from Haz. Knew he couldn't break the push. Gets the 1 Evolution Chamber and decides to back off along with a couple more units, but knew he was going to fight. Meanwhile, the counterattack, the Roaches are getting in the back here. The recall was necessary to stop thins ones. A couple more warp-ins, but the Roaches are getting quite a bit of damage here. Two probes go down, and the Burrow comes in, but let's see if these Roaches can get any more. They do. Weren't quite able to pick up any more probes. On the other side there is a couple more Roaches, though, in the base. And, well, they're sitting idly now, but they're waiting just to pop out at the right moment. Haz is over this, but meanwhile, there's an attack coming in on the base. There's not enough units here for Haz. He's got to deal with those bird Roaches. The Immortal's doing a lot of work, but it's just not going to be enough without these reinforcements. And they do come in, but now the Roaches in the backside will be able to pick off some more units. Gonna find the probes, and will be stopped momentarily if he can get out of that Observer over here, and he will. So the Roaches will go down. Some more on the other side here as these Zealots are taking care of them, but quite a bit of damage done and a lot of time consumed. And looks like Nercho is looking for a push. The cannon is there along with a shield battery that's pretty much out of energy. And these Zealots just waiting on these Roaches right now. We'll see what they get. The Observer is not over here, so he cannot stop these. But the cannon is finishing, and now they will pick off the Roaches. Almost certainly. And a quick denial of that upgrade here. So ground weapons level 2 will not be completed yet. And because of this attack, there was a couple unpowered gateways. So just a bit of harass and slowing down of Haz right now. But he's going to go ahead. Looks like it's going to be an all-in attack here. Got a bunch more warp-ins, bunch of charge lots, immortals, and sentries here, along with 1 stalker and an observer. Be able to take out some creep spread, but some evolution chambers going down to wall off. See if they can get there. Nope. Ends up canceling them. Couldn't get there in time. The drones were just going to die, so just try for it. Now the Roach Roaring going to be taken out, so opening up an avenue of attack here, but there's not a ton of room. The force fields go down, but that denies actually Has from getting in there with the Zealots. A little bit of a back off here as the Overlords are taken out. Nurchio still is not quite supply blocked yet, but it's getting there. Some more Warpins come in. Another 6 Zealots. Now onto the Ravagers, continuing to attack, splitting up forces here. A bunch of these Roaches and Ravagers are caught in a corner. A couple Hydralisks have joined in as well, but there's nowhere for them to really fight. They've just been cornered here. And these Immortals are doing quite a bit of work. The hatchery is going to end up going down. Force field's going to come in again. Some more Zealots coming in as well. Warperson continuing to bring in reinforcements. Now the Hydralisks are going to go down, and Nurchio's going to call GG, so Has takes game 1 for himself there. It was looking a little rough for a couple moments there because Has had to recall to deal with those counterattack Roaches, who then ended up having Burrow, which really threw him off, and he had to spend a ton of time dealing with that. But in the end, once he took out that Roach Warren, opened up the avenue of attack, the Zealots were enough. He just had too many for Nurchio to deal with. The Roach Ravagers there just wasn't enough of them in the end. So a good game by Has. A little bit of hiccup there, but got over it in the end. Game 2 will be played on Redshift. We get started momentarily. Just got to load in the replay and then set everything up, and we'll get going. But now a 1-0 lead for Has in this best of 5 is the quarterfinal match. Redshift 4 game 2, obviously a map that is a bit more friendly to Has because it's a bit more set up for aggression with those gold bases in the middle. You can use the War Prism to get over those and just sort of a little bit more open as opposed to 16-bit, which the bases are a bit more closed off. Only really the third is open for aggression. All right. We'll jump in now. He's on Redshift here. And in the bottom left, we have our red Protoss. It's Has. In the top left, we've got our blue Zerg. It's Nurchio. So, a bit longer game than his usual or Has. Sometimes he gets real aggressive, goes for those cannon rushes, gets in your face. And he's already sending a probe out here. He's going to spot this drone, who I think is heading over to the gold base. Perhaps not. We'll see where he goes. Seems like the gold base. He's actually going to take it, though, on the opposite side. So sometimes you'll see if he's taken on this side where the gases are, sort of the base is usually at. But he doesn't want to get blocked in by those minerals, so he wants to be able to have the queens on this side of the map so he can defend it a little bit easier. And this probe will spot it. He knows about this base. Overlord just hanging out, spotting if anything goes over there to try and attack from this angle. They had an interesting setup of the bases here for Nurchio. Has is going to end up going for a forge and a gateway, so perhaps he was planning to do something with that, but yeah, the base being there changes your plans a little bit. Now Has, is he going to take his own gold base? No, he doesn't have the minerals for it. He'd have to wait a little bit. He's been investing in a little rather strangely timed forge, because the gateway did come out first, but perhaps he was thinking about going for a gateway into the forge, and so it'd be sort of a delayed cannon rush, but that way you get your cybernetics core up quicker so that you can build a robo quicker. But now that I say that, the cannon rush is going down, but it's even further delayed cannon rush at 2 minutes. So these cannons will definitely be able to shoot over onto this hatchery, and it's too late for it to be canceled, so this thing should die unless some kind of push comes out from him. But he's going to opt to go for the hatchery instead, so just building a third one instead of just sacrificing this one, it looks like. In the main, we do have the spawning pool and a roach warren, but the roach warren is not completed yet, so not really a possibility of pushing on this. As did cancel one of the cannons. He had built 3, but canceled 1. 2 will certainly be enough to take that down here. And this probe will get away safely from those Zerglings in the end. But now a Stargate being added on for Haz, and an Adept coming out of the first gateway. So Nurture will still be on 2 bases, but a big denial of the gold bases. And that also means that this this gold base cannot be taken from either side now. You know, there was even, you know, sometimes when the base is killed on this side, you can then build and try and still have access to the gold base on the other side, but it's really not a possibility until he clears out these cannons. And now this base is very late though for both sides. This second base, and an attack has not been committed to for either side. So both of them have delayed their economies. Has delayed his economy to set those cannons in order to deal with that aggressive move from Nurtrio to try and get that gold base on the opposite side. But I suppose he thought it was worth it to get on that side to have the queens be able to push everything back, as well as get creep spread further across. If you can get your creep spread all the way over here, you can set up some spine crawlers and try and deny the enemy gold base. So if you do it that quickly, it's definitely a possible play. But because it has spotted it, was denied with those cannons. And now we do have a mass probe exodus over to the gold base. After we do have a Ravager in the back. Gonna be taken out, but the probes will have another base to go to. Overlord will be sent away after they see the Stalker. Doesn't want that to die yet. And Warp Gate's gonna come out soon, but no gates, really, besides that first one. Both players looking very, very delayed. And not much to note, really. It's been a pretty slow game, but a Spore Crawl will be invested. I say slow game in that there haven't been any all-out attacks, but there's been a lot of activity with the cannons going down, the aggressive gold base taken. But now we have a couple Oracles heading across here. 2 can do a lot of damage, even if there is a Spore Crawler. You can juggle that aggro well, and they've got plenty of energy, too, to try and take out. But looks like he's going to head back for now. And Twilight Count's being started here as the next tech. And the Oracles will pick up a Roach here. The Roach does spot the base and how many probes are mining from it. So that's pretty relevant information to know the economy. Well, the Queen's making their way across here, potentially trying to attack this gold base. The Oracles will see this, though. They see the Roaches as well. And the potential for some counter damage for Nurtrio, but he's definitely going to lose some probes. Does, and then both the Oracles survive, but meanwhile, he is pushing, and these Queens doing their best to waddle over there. It takes them a while, but they'll get there eventually. A couple Ravagers being transformed here, and now the Roaches are going to get onto this base. Just a single Stalker here. No cannons or anything to defend this. So he will have to give the gold base mining for now. Not sure if he's got the range, if he wants to use the Ravagers to try and take down the base. Ravagers, in the meantime, will just be taking down these cannons. Ravagers should be in range to kill this Nexus, but it'll take him a while. Grief's Pet is coming out now for Nurtrio, opting to spread on low ground, and the Ravagers will take out those cannons. Overlord does spot the taking of the third base, and the creep spread is pretty good from Nerchio. But still, he's just sitting on 2 bases right now at 7 minutes. Which is not exactly where you want to be here. An Evolution Chamber will be started up. Charge on the way for Haz, and a Dark Shrine as well, which is a big thing to note here, as the Ravagers are working away at this Nexus. Like I said, it's going to take them a little bit, but they'll get there eventually. And the Stargate currently not producing much of anything, and Ground Weapons level 1 will be completed, along with the charge. So potential timing here, but he just doesn't have the gates to really mass those Zealots, as the Overlord does scout in. But we are going to have a warp in of Dark Templars on the other side with this proxy pylon here, so they could get a ton of damage here. There is some Spore Crawlers at that second base. We'll see if he's able to get anything done here. And Dark Templars will be spotted here, but they are going to get some drones. Ravagers and Roaches are called back. Now a Dark Templar on the other side is getting some damage done, but decent amount invested there, and not a ton gained here. 10 drone kills is quite a bit, but Haz did invest a lot into getting that Dark Templar tech. So, say a decent chunk of damage for him, but only time will tell if that advantage is enough, as the creep spread is coming in quite a bit here. Spread at about the halfway mark here, and the third base is taken, almost about to be finished. He's got that Queen squad spreading the creep, but now Haz is on 2 bases. Both these players have denied each other's bases now on the gold. See the Overlords heading out. And the Oracle's still alive, still looking for some damage. But haven't found a ton. Still a decent amount done here. You see Haz a little bit up in the resources there. Stasis Ward will go down to deny mining time, as it's not very easy for them to get damage as of yet because of the Spore and Queen there. 2 Stasis Wards going down, only 2 drones caught on the first one and 1 on the second. As the Hydralisks come out, and melee attacks will be finished for Nerchio, and level 2 weapons for Haz. Some sentries come in, join the bunch. Overlord spreading some creep over there, and that will be spotted by some Zealots. They had a little tussle. Couple stasis wards put down by these oracles. Keeping those oracles alive was a pretty big win for Haz. Hasn't gotten a ton of damage done with them, but keeping them alive is really good for just for their spell casting abilities. As you do see a Baneling Nest going down here at 10 minutes. It's going to finish up in a little while, and having access to the Banelings is always a good idea when your opponent has a lot of ground forces, especially Zealots. Zealots have to get melee range, and when they do, those Banelings can hit and do a lot of damage. Here the creep will be denied, and this Overlord is going to try and get a scout off, but now has on 3 bases, Nerchio on 4, or at least 3rd and 4th bases completed for both of them. We'll get a full scout of this base, and the level 3 attacks as well, as he's just going to decide to spread some creep in the main of Haz, which quickly recedes. Any stalker should end up cleaning up this Overlord momentarily. Meanwhile, though, there's a huge push out from Nerchio. Couple hallucinations will spot this, but this is a big army here. Zealots are going to come meet this along with a sentry, but forces from Haz are going to have to get there quick. Do end up cutting these Zerglings off, and Looks like Nurture will be forced back for the moment, but he's got a lot of creep spread available to him right now. Orcos were able to find some counter damage. Got a couple drones as a couple chainlings come in. But here we go, the Banelings are coming in as well. As an Oracle gets picked off there. Revolution is down, but doesn't find the majority of the army here. Doesn't see the Banelings right now, which is a big thing to note. Creep Tumor destroyed here, but yeah, most of Haz's army is Zealots, and Banelings are pretty good against Zealots. Weapons level 3 will be completed. But this force from Haz just shouldn't be enough. Oh, the Banelings connect, and that's almost all the Zealots. Just 3 of them get away, but a huge, huge hit from Nurcio. That might just win him the game. That's so much of Haz's army destroyed. And the third base is mining. No gas is taken on the third or fourth bases. Well, now Haz is in big trouble. Looks like a couple force fields will come down denying the Zerlings for a moment, but still the Roaches and Ravagers, along with the Hydralisks, are hitting away, and now the Sentry's going to go down just a couple Sentries, an Archon, and an Immortal trying to win this fight, and a Ravager, another Ravager will go down, but Haz is going to have to call GG. He just doesn't have nothing to follow up on that. After those Banelings connected, that was GG. That was game over. There was just not enough army from Haz left. Both of them knew it. Very interesting game in terms of the way it played out, though, in the early game, because there weren't any big all-in attacks or anything crazy, you know, a bunch of proxies from Haz, as we see sometimes from him, but he looked to be setting up a sort of delayed can rush after he spotted that drone running out. Perhaps knew that there was going to be base set up, and so he ended up just bringing the probe around and setting up a cannon, a couple of cannons to deny that gold base that Nurcio took pretty aggressively on the opposite side, farthest away from his own main, but in the end, Nurcio did come out on top despite Haz reacting that pretty well. Haz's economy just kind of wasn't there. Though he was able to deny Nurcio's bases, his expansions went up. All of them went up later, and he didn't actually commit to an attack earlier to try and deny the economy. He did get a decent amount of probes or drones killed. You know, and suffering pretty minimal losses, you know, comparatively, but unfortunately, it just did not have the income. Wasn't making probes at the same rate that Nurcio was making drones, or at least in a comparable way that you would be okay with in PvZ. All right, so game 3 is on Acid Plant. Acid Plant, a bit more of a standard map compared to Redshift and 16-bit. It's a little bit more in the middle as opposed to the sort of really, you know, crazy nature of Redshift and how the gold bases are set up. Acid Plant's a little bit more standard. A little bit more of a standard map in terms of the way it plays out. There's no crazy gold base placements. Pretty normal expansions in the way the bases are set up. But Haz will find a way to make the game crazy in some way, I'm sure. So now we have a 1-1 score. Going into game 3 here on Acid Plant. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we've got our red Protoss. It is Haz. And in the top left-hand side, we've got our blue Zerg. It's Nurcio. An early probe being sent out, though, from Haz. And along with a drone from Nurcio to take the second expansion, he's going to take it at his third instead of his natural. This is just so that the probe from Haz cannot deny it. He's just waiting on those minerals right now. He's going to eventually finish that up. As we see, the probe from Haz is going to find that there's no expansion here. Did send it out early enough to deny it, but should know there's an expansion just somewhere else. Once he confirms there's no early spawning pool all in or anything like that, no crazy 12 pool, that Has should know there's an expansion somewhere. He just doesn't know where it is until he scouts that, if he does in the end. And the spawning pool does go down, so we'll know the exact timing of that. And we'll assume it's somewhere else on the map. Now we do have a Nexus going down for Has. Again, playing standard. Looks like he's going to try and deny this third base from Nurchio if he does try to take it a bit early. As this drone and probe are going at it. The early game dance here, as we do have the Overlords coming in. We'll spot Cybernex Core and Nexus for sure. So he knows the timing of that as well. And should spot this third base, or rather, second base at the third. And he does. So, full information for both players right now. There's nothing really being hidden. Vita Stalker coming out first for Has to deny this Overlord. Is also the possibility to just send the Overlord over to that little pillar to deny that. We've got a couple Zerglings heading across the map just for scouting purposes. Not enough to do any real damage. And actually going to split them. So just really searching for information, sending a couple more out as well. So a slow game to start. Again, just the one gas for Nurchio. Meanwhile, we do have the robotics facility going down for Has, along with that Twilight Council that's about to finish up. So those are going to be his first couple tech buildings. Does lean more toward an aggressive play with some Zealots, Immortals, and a Warp Prism to try and continue to sustain that attack. Definitely a ground-focused army here, not going for the Stargate like he had in previous games, especially against Zerg. Stargate seems to be definitely the best option among Protoss players. Is just Stargate's really good against Zerg because you can get a lot of damage done early. Plus the Oracle is just a really great unit. There's a lot of utility, and then Phoenixes can deny Overlords, and sort of you get a lot of information and your opponent doesn't. And the potential for damage. Now, if you don't respect that as a Zerg player, you don't build spores and enough queens, you get a lot of damage done here. As we do see the Roach Warren going down. And a nice wall set up there for As. Still's not taking the gases, so we'll see. We'll see if he ends up doing that at any point. He's not one to take very many gases. Yeah, slow start here. On the other side, no, Nurture is taking his gases, at least to the third. So he will have access to 3 in total. Trying to get enough gas for the Roaches and Ravagers that he's definitely going to make here. That's definitely the path he's chosen. And these Zerglings continue to patrol. Let's keep vision on the map here. A couple Zerglings in the corner. Perhaps he saw that was a likely proxy point, but Has going to get aggressive here. Charge is about to finish up. He's got a Warp Prism, and it's full of Zealots. So the potential for some damage here on this charge timing. Has, it seems, likes to use those Zealots in the Warp Prism. Sometimes does it with an Observer to clean up the creep, like we saw previous game. Does have an Observer here, but he's going for damage. It's a big warp in his Zealots here. Got 8 in total. This should be able to take out the Roaches. The Queen, though, on the Warp Prism might go down. It's not going to, though. And now the Zealots getting in there. Charge is finished. Both Queens go down. Now just 2 Roaches left. A couple more joining the party, but these Zealots are getting a lot of damage done. A couple Zerglings in there as well. Good pickup there from Has to save the Zealots. Reposition them now. Another warp in here. These Roaches just aren't enough to stop these Zealots. He's going to need more units. And the Warp Prism just continuing to bring in reinforcements for Has. A couple more Roaches are joining the party. But now it's 11 drones killed off here. 13 now. Suffering big losses is Nurchio, and he hasn't cleaned this up yet. The Zealot's still getting damage done. Enough Roaches and Queens now to try to stop this attack. The Zealots are all pretty much low health, except for the ones that have just been warped in, and a pickup will come in. It looks like Has will be leaving now. But a huge, huge pickup there as Roach Speed is finishing. That's a big, big pickup for Haz. That's a lot of damage done. It's definitely put him in the driver's seat. And looks like Haz will take a third behind this, so trying to improve his economy. Get ahead now. Now that he's gotten an advantage, he wants to continue to pressure. Not going to go for the all-in. Just going to go for, hey, I've got an advantage. I'm going to keep making more units, so eventually I'll just have more and I'll win fights that way. A couple more gateways going down. And still no gas is taken at the natural. Do have a move out here from Haz, though. This is quite a few units. And he's sending almost all of them across the map. Meanwhile, on the backside, though, we have Roaches. Going to be a defensive warp in here, but they're all going to go down. The Zelt will end up warping in, but super low health. And now the probes are in a really bad state here. Some more Zelt being warped in, but one gets killed before he even is able to. The Roach is doing a ton of damage here. On the other side, though, Haz is launching a huge attack. This one more working away on the extract. The Warp Prism could go down. If the Queen gets it, the Warp Prism is going to be huge if it goes down. Oh, it's going to survive for now. Oh, it ends up falling. As I say that, the Queen able to find the last shot. The Zealots are doing a lot of damage. The drones are forced into the corner here. This is a lot of damage for Haz. Roaches have been cleaned up on the backside. The Zealots are able to drive them away. And now Nurture's going to call GG. That's going to be the natural going down for sure. So he knew he couldn't recover from that. So that Roach attack, the counterattack got a lot, but not enough. And Haz will take game 3. That'll put him at 2-1 in the series. And the next game will be on Catalyst. A little bit of another scary moment for Haz, but able to recover, continue to warp in those Zealots and stop those Roaches. I was a little bit afraid for him when those Zealots he warped in and just instantly got taken down by the Roaches, but was able to find it in the end. So a second win here for Haz. Setting him up nicely to take the series. Game 4 will be on Catalyst. This is the quarterfinals from WCS Valencia. A little while ago. Alright, and we are loading in. Another more standard map in the pool as opposed to the first two games, which were on maps that are either a little bit more aggressive or a little bit more defensive. These are a bit more standard here. Alrighty. Got everything set up here. So game 4 between Haz and Nurcio, the quarterfinals from WCS Valencia. And in the bottom right side, in blue, the Zerg player, it's Nurcio. And in the top left, we've got the red Protoss, it's Haz. He's going to make that pylon at the front and immediately send out the probe. So an early scout here from Haz. Could not be just a scout. Could be more than that. We'll see what he goes for. Again, the drone is going to go ahead and set up a base at the third instead of at the natural. Like Nurture did last game. It was a good move from him in order to deny the potential harass from Haz. He did send the probe out early in that game to try and deny that expansion for a little bit. Which you can do by just blocking it with the probe. But Nurture just reacting to that and just taking the expansion. Does not see gas being taken or the spawning pool now will be taken. So So Haz knows the timings of these. And again, we'll assume there's an expansion elsewhere. We'll probably scout it in a minute. Once he sees this timing of the spawning pool, he'll probably just go ahead and go over there. And the gateway going to finish up momentarily. As Haz continues to look around the map. We'll check both sides here. Just a single gas taken from Haz. And expansion coming in. So again, a bit of a standard setup from both sides. Just the little adjustment from Nurture just trying to deny from Haz. And with the spawning pool, we spotted. So again, full information for both sides. You know, once this Overlord gets there, he will know what's going on. Cybernetics Core, Gateway, and Nexus all on normal timings. Second gas will be taken. Along with that, following coming down, we got Metabolic. It's going down, and then some Queens and Zerglings in production. And Haz does spot, does know the third is actually the natural. Or second base from Nurture, and the Overlord will come in and spot this. The Chrono Boost coming out, try to get the Stalker out a little bit earlier. And the Overlord will make its way over to a safe spot on the high ground. Nope, he's coming back. He wants some more. Now he'll most likely get away here. Should. Yeah. Does end up getting away into his little safe spot on the high ground. This Overlord going in and spotting a potential attack path. Do have the Twilight Council in production here. And now finish for Haz. And the Robo. Gonna be the next building. So similar build to last game for Haz. This probe's gonna get chased by the Zerglings. Should go down. Doesn't have any friends to back him up as the Metabolic Boost does finish. And the Zerglings are gonna skip that. Screw the probe. We're gonna go ahead and fight. The probe is here to block when the Stalker does fall, and it will. But the shield battery block does come in. This probe should die. Yep, will. So now a couple Zerglings putting some pressure on Haz. Doesn't really have any units to defend here. Gonna Chrono Boost out this Adept. Not making anything on the second gateway. Does have the resources for it, but knows the single Adept should be enough. We'll probably cancel that shield battery. This does allow the Overlord to come in. Now that he knows the Stalker is dead, the Overlord can come in and look for some scouting opportunities. And there's no Stalker follow-up. And no Stargate for Haz. So full information should be gathered here for Nurture. Let's take a quick look at the Nurture cam. We see him spotting this. Shield battery did end up finishing, I believe. Yep, he did end up finishing the shield battery. Which is interesting. He's actually blocked himself in. Stalker does come out. But he sees all these gateways going down and transforming. Knows the Twilight Council's there. In charge is about to be completed, which is very big. Observer also coming out. But now this Warp Prism is going to head over. He's got one Zealot inside, and it's probably going to add a couple more. Yep. Fortunately, the Zergling does spot that for Haz, so now this sort of Zealot attack he did in the last game might not go as well, as we got double Queen here, plus Zerglings there to meet those Zealots as soon as they come out. We got a bunch more Zerglings and Roaches as well. So now Haz sort of walled himself in. Actually did end up killing that shield battery. Never mind. Knew he was going to do it eventually, but did it while he was doing that attack. Now these Zerglings looking to kill this Pro. If they do, that'll deny the expansion for a little bit longer. And they will. And now these Zerglings will get away. A couple losses, though, and he's going to have to send out another Pro to start this expansion. Not too big a loss, but a few seconds. Can't add up. And these Zerglings looking for something. That Stalker is in the gap. Will not allow these Zerglings in. And we do have a Dark Shrine here for Haz. Go ahead and look at this Warp Prism. Because the Warp Prism is pretty crucial. That'll be where those Dark Templar decide to warp in from. And this Warp Prism's making its way over here. Already one Dark Templar down. We'll see if he warps in a couple more. Is detection here. Got the Overseer down. We'll see if he's able to find anything. On the other side, though, we do have some Zerglings and Roaches moving out. And these Zealots will be cleaned up on the other side, so this Warp Prism is huge. If he's going to get any damage done, it's going to be by this Warp Prism. But the Overseer and Roaches are all here to try to deny this potential. Still, though, we got a counterattack on third. Has slow to react. We'll finally get it up. Defense will be denied. And now, looks like he will get the expansion up safely. But a pretty large army of Roach Ravager here for Nerchio. And, well, I just don't know if it's going to be enough army for Haz. As the reason he won that last game was all the damage the Zealots did on the other side, and that did not come through this game. Now we have the Roaches moving out. Queen spreading creep. I think there's going to be a massing here for an attack for Nerchio soon. Couple more warp-ins of Zealots and a Sentry. As we still do not have gas taken on the natural for Haz. He just doesn't like it. Minerals are better than gas. Everybody knows this. Gas units are so expensive. Why would you even bother with them? Just make a bunch of Zealots. Yeah, you got charge, you got level 1 weapons. Can't lose. Now we have the Roaches searching around. They will find a lone Zealot. Haz could look for some... If you can pick up these Roaches, that would be a decent chunk of the army. Now some Group Tumors will be taken out. Now, potential fight here. Good concave for these Roaches. The Zealots not going to find their way in. They're going to be forced back. The force fields will deny the engage from Nerchio, but only momentarily. Could look for another attack here. It's on creep. There are Banelings here. These Banelings to do a lot of damage. I don't know if there's energy for force fields. Banelings coming in. Will they find hits? Well, they get mostly shut down, but there's still a ton of Roaches and Ravagers here. It might just be too much. Immortals hiding backwards, but I don't know if it'll be enough. They're already getting low. The Warp Prism is not able to bring in enough reinforcements, and now you'll be able to pick up the Immortals and bring them out to safety. But the rest of the force will go down, and now a warp in of Zealots will try and defend this third base, but that's a lot of Zerg coming in from Nerchio. Some more warp ins. The shield battery is here, but that Haz just going to call. He knew he was going to lose the fight. There just was not enough there, not enough production or in the back for Haz to actually bring in enough forces to defend that. So down he will go, evening up the series 2-2. And the final map will be lost and found for Game 5, the deciding match between Nerchio and Haz. Was just one of those games. Usually Haz is able to find damage, with that sort of Zealot drop. He does it off the timing with charge. So we'll come in with that Warp Prism, come in with 4 Zealots inside the Warp Prism. He'll then warp in 4 more. And then you've got 8 Zealots all of a sudden in one of your bases. And sometimes there's just not enough Zerg there to stop them. Or, in any matchup, those Zealots can find damage. But that time it was shut down. Even the Dark Templar were invested in, but the detection was there. The Overlord there, or the Overseer. And just no damage, and so Haz, that's usually how he finds his advantages, through those cheeky plays with charge lots or crazy aggression early on. But when he doesn't find those early advantages, he's just not a great not a player that's going to out macro you
with a large army. He's not going to beat you, 200 supply to 200 supply most of the time. The only way he's going to do that is if, if he's way ahead in terms of unit composition. If he was able to deny you in the early game and then find a huge advantage where he's got, 200 supply of way better units than you. He's just not a guy who's going to beat you straight up in the late game. He'll beat you straight up in the early game. But late game, not a great player when everything's been even. He doesn't want to handshake it until the late game. All right. Now game 5, the deciding game in this best of 5. It's going to be on Lost and Found. And in the bottom left side, we have the red Protoss, currently with 2 games. It's Has. And on the other side, in the top right, we've got our blue Zerg player with 2 games as well. It's Nerchio. Again, an early probe sent out from Has after making that first pylon. As the gateway goes down, it's probably, again, just going to try and deny that expansion. But, again, Nerchio going for the expansion at the 3rd instead of the natural. So this probe should not deny it. Perhaps the metagame will advance to a point where the probe does go out early, but goes out early to the 3rd and tries to deny it there. But again, the probe scouting is very important, knowing what's going on, knowing the timing of the pool and the gas, which you'll get for both. Knowing its standard is huge information. Can't always assume that. Probe will steal a mineral and make its way out. Just gonna sit it on patrol, but again, the expansion was at 3rd. And Has again with the expansion as the Cyber Core goes down. So not anything crazy again. Just playing in standard for game 5 as the Overlord slowly makes its way over, trying to scout out and see what that first tech building from Has is going to be, because that dictates a lot of the game against him. Probe will spot the 3rd when it's completed. Best of 5s are always a little bit scary. You don't want to bring out... Sometimes people don't have the nerve to bring out any crazy build. Just want to play standard in the game 5. Customary 4 Zergling is going to come out, along with that Stalker again. Has seemed to prefer to just go the Stalker and just deny... Or at least push back the Overlord. Push back, force the Overlord to go into its pillar spot. But some, prefer the Adept. Has just going for the Stalker every game, pretty much. Majority of the time. And with no Stargate, no way to push that Overlord out, so at least the information on the front will be gained. And as we get another gateway drop to complete the wall off and the Robo facility on its way for as the Twilight completes. Probably see charge momentarily once he gets enough resources for it. Come on, give it to us. Give us the charge. Well, we'll see. We'll see if he goes for the charge. Zerglings are here, but there's a Stalker here as well, and these are slow lings. A couple more seconds on that metabolic boost. Sentry here as well, so that should be denied, and it will. A couple more Zerglings coming in, but unlikely they'll break this. As charge does come out with an observer. Seems to be the standard for him as the forge goes down in the back. A couple more gateways in production. And the 3rd base at the natural does finish. As we get a big send out of Zerglings here to try and scout the map and make sure nothing fishy's going on. Just one parked right outside. Warp gates are going to complete soon. The observer is going to allow Has to actually push this Overlord off the high ground and actually end up killing it. So 9.5 vision is definitely nice for Has, but that does give information that it is a robo, because the only way that could be spotted without a Stargate unit being in vision is if you had an observer. That's really the only thing. So the information is gathered, and did see the warp into Zealots with that Zergling, and actually will spot the Warp Prism again on that other Zergling that we just ran by. And Has might call this off. He's waiting for charge, but this has been completely spotted from Nurchio, and he was prepared in game 4 for it. Just gonna use the Zerglings right now to take out creep. See if he's gonna opt for anything later. Nope, just gonna tape out a couple of creep tumors, and this queen will force this away. Do have some upgrades coming in for Has, growing up as level 1 and making that third Nexus as well. Over here, one Zealot there valiantly defending that base. A couple more gases being taken, as we do see the Zealots gleaning out some more creep. So this Observer Warp Prism with the Zealot setup, just right now using it to push back the creep, which gives you map control, as well as keeps vision and tells you what the unit composition is for the Zerg player, because he's got to push them back somehow, and to do that he's got to send out some units, and the roaches will be confirmed, but the creep will be respread. Roach speed coming in. The Observer spotted here by this Overseer. Nope. Just missed it, I guess. Or he probably looked away. Did look away, but now looking back, and the Observer will go down. So that's actually a pretty big pick-off. Being able to pick off the Observer is pretty nice, because it does deny that sort of roaming hit squad with the Zealots. Trying to deny the creep. Gets you your creep spread out on the map. And that Roach, no match for the Mortal. This is a big push out from Has right now. He's got quite a few Zealots here, 2 Immortals and a bunch of Sentries. The Zealots are going to run in, take a little bit of damage. Everyone survives, though, on both sides, pretty much. And Banelings being produced here, along with a couple of Zerglings for Nurchio, but this is a decently scary army with these Immortals, especially now that they've warped in even more Zealots. Has looking for some big damage here. He's going to go into the mineral line. Now pulling back, trying to dodge these Banelings. The force field's on the backside of the Roaches. This is, a nice flank from Nurchio, but these Immortals able to push back the Roaches, and the force field's keeping them at bay. Another warp in here. Bunch more Zealots joining the party. These force fields have been really good to try and keep the Zerg at bay. Fight. It's going to explode momentarily, but calm down for now. Now the Zealot's going into the mineral line. The Spinecrawler is there. More warp-ins. More Zealots. The force field's good again. Now, a couple drones being killed, but Has is going to need another warp-in to win this fight, I would assume. And there it comes in. A couple more Zealots here. The Corrosive Biles come in, and a recall forced out as the Warp Prism was taken out. So, being in warp-in mode, it was biled down there by the Ravagers, and another Mortal coming out, but no gases. Just the 2 at the main. And we've got the ground weapons level 2. But here we've got a counterattack for the Roach Ravagers. Warp Prism trying to be added on after that original one was taken out. A couple of cannons here at the 3rd as well to try and keep that base safe. As he's going to move out, spot some Changelings, take those down, sees the Overseers. They will get away to the high ground and spot what's going on in this 3rd. Sees no gas. Sees how many probes there are. And another warping of Zealots. Still on 3 base though for Nurchio. There is a bit of a counterattack here coming in for Haz. See a little nice map accent there. What we care about is these Zealots, though, charging in. Queens are going to be targeted down. Transfuses comes in, though, saves some of the Queens. The Zealots getting some damage, but they're going to sacrifice his lives in exchange. On the other side, though, a huge attack from Haz. He's going to take down this hatchery. He's already killed a lot of Roaches, but now these Ravagers and Roaches are going to try and hold on. Ground weapons level 2 will complete momentarily. That's a huge deny on that hatchery. Now just 2 bases. The Zealots on the other side are definitely going to be taken down. Another hatchery is going to be attempted to be started here, but the Zealots are here to deny that. As he's kiting back, does have this War Prison for more reinforcements. It looks like it's going to go into the main base. As the main army stands out here trying to draw the fire of these Roaches. Oh, a bunch of Zealots being warped in here. Fight on the other side. Oh, now he's got 2 War Prisms on the field, so you can warp in both spaces. These Roaches are going to get a lot of damage done on these Zealots. Will end up taking them out almost assuredly, but now on the other side, the main army from Haz is going to get a lot of damage. This could even take out the hatchery, and if it does, it's probably game. Haz is just going to target down. We'll take down the hatchery. Just 1 base now for Nurcio. It's going to be hard for him to recover, and he's going to call GG. Haz will take the series. Wins the best of 5 versus Nurcio in the quarterfinals of WCS Valencia. A bit shaky there for a moment. Losing that War Prism on that initial attack was huge. It denied the attack, forced the recall out. He lost so many units on the recall as well. But the damage was done. He did kill quite a few units, but was looking shaky. Still, though, he sticks to his guns, makes even more charged lots, and that's enough to carry him to victory. And into the semifinals, where he'll play Showtime, which is a PvP matchup. Showtime, a tough opponent. And PvP, an interesting matchup for Haz specifically, because there's lots of things you can do, especially because the PvP sort of meta is generally dominated by, you know, a double 2 gates first and you delay the expand, and Haz seems to be very comfortable playing on 1 base, 2 base. One of the most comfortable pro players there is out there. I'm playing on 1 or 2 bases. First map will be Acid Plant. The map Haz played in the last series. Haz also someone who sticks to the charge lots. He likes his charge lots, and he likes them over pretty much every other unit. He doesn't seem a fan of many other things. He doesn't seem like someone who's going to get into a Phoenix War. He'll just run at you with charge lots, ignore the air units. In the semifinals of WCS Valencia, it's a best of 5. And here we are. In the top left-hand corner, the blue Protoss, we've got Showtime from Germany. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we've got the red Protoss player. It's Haz from Taiwan. And standard pylons being dropped for both. Showtime's going to put his in the wall, though. So a little bit different, whereas Haz is just going to put his further back. So he's going to put 2 gates here. Just set up the wall that way. Or Showtime's going to change things up a little bit. Put the pylon in the wall. And 2 gases taken from Showtime and Has. So again, mirroring each other. It's a mirror matchup. Doing pretty much the same thing for both sides. Getting information on the first tech building, though, is huge. See double gate for both sides. But yes, getting information on the first tech from both sides is huge. It really changes how the game's going to go depending on what tech building each player goes for. And and if the other player knows it, it shapes how it goes as well. Getting a scout here from Showtime has given him a little love tap as he runs by. And Stalker Sentry versus double Adept here. So Showtime definitely looking to get some damage done if he can with these Adepts. If you let Adepts into your base early on, that could be very troublesome. The wall off from a probe can be crucial too. Building an emergency shield battery to deny the shades in from the Adepts can be important here. Another Stalker being added on for Has. 2 more for Has. As these Adepts come across. And 2 more behind it. So committing to this Adept push, definitely wanting to get some pressure here. Shade completes, and it's going to be real important if Has sees this. He hasn't really scouted much of anything. The Stalkers see it. There's not going to be a wall off in time. It lets the Adepts in here. This is really, really bad here. There's 3 Stalkers here to defend this, but the Adept's getting a lot of damage. The wall-off does come in, so this Adept should not get out. Oh, it got canceled. Now the probes... Oh, the probe does go down in the end. And the Adept goes down. So, 5 probes killed. The wall-off didn't come quite in time. Now 2 more joining the party. Looks like Showtime's going to put up an expansion behind this. So not committing to a huge array of Adepts here. We've got the Phoenixes massing in the back for Showtime. Whereas Has gone for a Twilight Council and Stalkers, and these 2 Adepts finding quite a bit of damage. 2 more probes go down, and only 1 Adept in return. The expansion started for Has, a little bit behind that of Showtime, but only a few seconds off. But yeah, the biggest deviation in this matchup is the Adepts versus the Stalkers and the Twilight Council. Stalkers are here, but no blink to try and chase these Adepts down quite yet. 4 now, and looks like the Adept will get away. So 4 probes and 1 Adept survives. Another pylon started here in our robotics facility. Got a Zealot plugging the gap there. Void Rays coming out here. He made 3 Phoenix and was poking around the main of Has, but the Void Ray, really interesting decision there to go for that. Not massing more Phoenixes. Got a Observer behind this as well. Expansion about to finish for both sides. Blink almost done for Has. Probably going to look to get some damage on this push, but he's got to worry about those Phoenixes coming in on the backside. The Void Ray. Just a single one made. Now the Immortal. Oh, here we go. We got the Phoenixes on the other side of Blink. Trace out the Phoenixes. Didn't get any damage done that time. I think Has forgot to rally. Yep. He forgot to rally out the probe, so 1 probe was sitting there waiting. He was worried about a lot of things. A lot of harass going down for Showtime with these Phoenixes and Adepts. Didn't actually put the rally point on for the expansion, so the probe was actually sitting there for a little bit. Just idly. Hallucination coming in is going to be chased down by these Phoenixes, but some information gathered. Does see the Void Ray and an Immortal? So that information is helpful. A 3rd base going down for Has. has decided to just sit back and wait. He's built a bunch of stalkers, just using it as defensive units, not pushing with them. Oh, the blink across will spot these phoenixes. Will he be able to cut them off? Not quite. The blink, I blinked down to low ground instead of towards the phoenixes that took a little bit of a left-hand turn away from him. These stalkers could keep everything at bay. They are good defensive units, for especially chasing down air units and keeping them from doing damage. If Haz can get this expansion up and running, he'll definitely be in the lead here because no expansion has been started for Showtime. Hasn't taken gases out of natural either. This is definitely an attack coming out. He's got War Prism, a couple Void Rays as well. He's got a definite looking to attack here with this army. That's a lot of gateways has. Templar Archives as well. So he's looking to amass a strong ground army, but I don't know if he'll be allowed to do so. This attack coming in from Showtime is going to be a large one. No doubt about it. This could get ugly real quick for Haz. The probe will spot this. It dies immediately. Shield batter being worked on. The Zealot's forced to run away. Haz does not have a very large army defense attack. The gateways are being finished up, but they're not ready to warp in yet. But the War Prism is warping in units. Stalkers go down on the backside. Now force fields go down. Charge going to be completed for Haz, but it's not going to be in time. The army's already dwindling here for Haz. I don't know if he's enough to hang on. If he does hold this, though, he's got 3 bases. 2. War Prism bringing in more reinforcements. His Void Ray's done a lot of work, but it's getting low. Will end up going down. But there's so much Showtime here, and Showtime will take the game. Game number 1. Over to the side of Showtime. It's a big push. Found the timing on the 2 bases. He did so much economic damage early on, killing off so many probes. That was really what won in the series there. Or won in the game, rather. The series is still to be decided. At least here. It was the semifinals of WCS Valencia 2018. Haz was actually the defending player there in that game. Certainly not his usual spot. Very much more of an aggressive player, but that time Showtime took it to him. Got aggressive. Made adepts instead of stalkers and sentries. Got to work. The block wasn't quite there in time for Haz, and the adepts, the first couple of adepts got in, did some damage. The next couple of adepts got in, did some damage, and Haz just was not able to stop him. Game 2 will be on Lost and Found. Now Showtime up 1-0. Taken game 1 pretty convincingly. Getting off to a good start in a best of 5, always helpful. Playing from behind can be a challenge, especially in high pressure situations, and we got a pretty big one here. Alrighty. Getting started on game 2 here. Up 1-0. In the top right-hand corner, the blue Protoss, it's Showtime. And in the bottom left-hand corner, down 1-0. It's the red Protoss, it's Haz. And an early probe sent out by him. He didn't send out a probe scout really early on last game. Showtime was one doing the scouting, the person getting out on the map doing things. Whereas Haz just kind of sat back in the matchup, but changing things up this game. Wants to know what's going on and perhaps deciding to go aggressive. Was a gateway started at home, so no cannon rush. Likely. We've got a probe scouting. Showtime put this probe on patrol. He wants to be wary of this cannon rush. A pylon will go down. This is just a bluff from Haz, though. He does not have cannons to build. No forge, so it's just a bluff. Will be... This is a lot of lost mining time, though. He's got 3 probes out. Trying to deal with them. Cybernetic score goes up for both sides. Similar timing, and now Haz is just harassing him. The opposite from game 1, and this actually forced him to react. Lost mining time might even make up for the I think makes up for the minerals lost on the cancel. Just 25 minerals, and I think that definitely makes up for it. And now Haz knows the plans of Showtime if this probe is able to stick around. But besides, do you have a probe of Showtime's getting into the main here? It's just a single gate from Haz, not going for a double gate. And Showtime will see this. He knows what's going on. Stalker will come out here for Haz. As we get a Stargate added on for Haz, so opting to put a bit more resources into air early on, just making the 1 gate. Shield battery will go down at the front. It looks like Showtime's still paranoid, looking around his main with his probe, trying to see if there's any lingering cannons being placed down or any sort of secret proxy building going down. Saw that the wall wasn't quite there, so decided to put a pylon down so that no units can get around. Showtime now the one building a couple stalkers. Did not build a depth this game, opposed to last game. And now a Phoenix being chrono boosted, or being started up here for Haz. Will not invest the chrono boost. Thought he might, because he kind of needs units right now. He only built the 1 gateway. Like, it's a little risky. Showtime stalkers will be pushed back by Haz. More being produced. Haz continuing to build stalkers, but again, behind on gates. He's trying to change that, though. Has added on a bunch more gates. Warp gate's going to complete significantly faster here for Showtime. When I say significantly, I just mean by 20 or 30 seconds, which is sort of the timing you're looking for. Haz is still working on that warp gate. If he had decided to, go now, if he changed up his build to try and get aggressive with this robot, if he built this robo and moved across with the units, and this is possibly the timing here. We do have a big warp-in of zealots. He's big for the early game. This is 7 stalkers here. Or excuse me, stalkers warped in. This is 7 stalkers, only 3 here to defend for Haz. He's got a couple air units, but I don't know if they'll be able to come back and help in time. Pylon and shield battery both be taken down here. The gateways are here for Haz. He's going to get a warp in before this attack comes in, but he doesn't have a ton of resources. Just 1 stalker available to him. On the other side, though, the Phoenixes will be sent across. The stalkers are just hanging out at the front here. Got 3 Phoenixes and a 4th deciding to join them out of the Stargate. Nothing else in production in terms of air units. A robo does go down here for Haz. But that's a lot of stalkers. It's a lot of stalkers from Showtime. Phoenixes, in the meantime, looking for a counterattack. If they can get damage while he's able to hold the high ground with his own stalkers, this will be spotted out by the Showtime. Did not get all his stalkers there. No expansion for either player, though. So both sitting on even footing right now. The worker count is in favor of Haz as well, by a significant margin of 8. Stalkers continue to repel the Phoenixes. Well, these stalkers coming in World War Prison, they can get up onto the high ground. They now have vision of high ground, and one more stalker being added with a warp in.
And a depth shade will not complete. The gateway does go down. Haz has still not made a move. The observer comes down.
More units being warped in here for Haz, but the Cyber Core is going to go down. Haz still has not made a move. Now the choke point is down. Guardian Shield goes up. Haz is going to... Oh, he uses the great force field on these sentries. They're going to be juggled back with his War Prism, but... Now Haz is in a pretty tough spot. Cannot even produce anything but Zealots and stuff out of his Stargate and Robo right now. Going to bring out a Immortal, but... Sentry can only buy so much time with that Force Fields. Or Zealots being warped in here. Only unit he can build out of the gateways. Oh, the probes are going to join for the fight, it looks like. They're being pulled. Oh, the force field goes down. And the Zealot along with it. Now we get a warp in of Adepts from Showtime. Probably going to look to shade in again and see the base. Phoenixes do come back to help. Instead of counterattacking. They're going to come back and help. Could be getting a lot of damage here. But decides he needs to win the fight at home. Oh my gosh, these Phoenix, if they take out the War Prism. Phoenixes take out the War Prism. Now the Force Field's there on the ramp. As is going to lose an Adept, but that was a huge, huge pick-off from those Phoenixes. They're going to deny any reinforcements, and now Showtime's going to be forced to turn tail and run. Meanwhile, these Phoenixes are heading across the map, now can get counter damage done. 4 probes from Haz to go down, and say some of them are pulled. The expansion now for Showtime, but the probe is killed off, and a bunch more going to go down with it. This is going to be so many probes going down for Showtime. He's going to try and commit to an attack here. The Stalkers are positioning, but so many probes going down. The force fields. Nope. Just getting a couple units picked off. They're out of energy. These Phoenixes are just out of energy. War Prism, ooh, almost goes down in one shot, but Haz able to save it. Guardian Shield comes in. No fight committed to, though. His Observer is spotting the high ground for Showtime. Force Field comes in, is able to pick up a Stalker. Well, this Immortal should be picked up. Yep, it's going to save it. The other side of the Phoenixes are still just sitting there, picking up. Whenever they have energy and has the time to actually go ahead and micro those units, he just picks up a unit, a worker, and kills it. Now these Immortals being juggled up and down to on the high ground and low ground. But still a lot of units here for both sides. This many Immortals, though, you got 4 Immortals. I don't know if the Stalkers can get through that much health. Now another warp in of sentries. And a Zealot to join them. And good juggling from Haz here. If he's able to hold his attack, he wins the game. Because of the damage he's got on the other side. The Phoenix is now coming back. They have a little bit of energy to try and help with this fight. As well as just absorb fire. More health you have. And now the Adept's going to shade in, but I think Haz has stopped this attack here. Now the Phoenix is going to come in and catch a bunch of units. The Stalker's forced to... Oh, the Recall's going to come in. Showtime's going to be forced to go back. The expansion does go up, so he's got a way to produce probes here, but he's lost so many from those Phoenixes. He's way, way down from what he was a moment ago. He's still ahead because Haz has suffered so many losses, and he hasn't been able to produce probes. And these Adepts also going to find a few units. But if Haz didn't have that counterattack there, he certainly would lose the game to that expansion. But he's just going to go for the attack here. He survived the attack. He's invested a ton into units. He's got a bunch of Phoenixes, a bunch of Immortals. He's just got a lot more units right now. A lot stronger units. The Immortals come up. The Phoenixes as well. The Force Fields are good, but they should be... Immortal is going to be saved. Going to be juggled back. The War Prism. Haz continuing to try to move through this choke point. Force Field's going to run out, though, and now the Warp is going to come in as well. Shield batteries are being built for Showtime. Those can make up for a lot of units. Even though he's behind the units, the shield batteries are huge if he can keep those powered, but they're not going to be powered for long. They get depowered, the pylon goes down. Probes are pulled to help fight, but I don't know if there's enough here. Haz is a lot of units, a lot of Immortals, and that will be GG. So Haz takes game 2. Striking right back in the series here. Not going to go down to game point or match point. Going to strike back in the series. Takes game 2. Off of a game that was much more like a Has game. Has games are not terribly long, and if they are long, it's just because people are on a stalemate on one base. Maybe it'd be 12 minutes, but we're all sitting on one base waiting. We're mining out. But a solid win for him there, getting him back in the series. Showtime, no pushover. We're going to go ahead back on to Catalyst here for Game 3, with the series tied up 1-1. Is a best of 5, so winner of this will get on to match point. Alrighty. Game 3 now on Catalyst, with the series tied up 1-1. In the top left-hand corner, we've got our red Protoss. It's Has. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have our blue Protoss. It's Showtime. Both throwing out the good luck, have fun. Has in caps, though, asserting his dominance as a superior player with the all caps. Get Showtime going for this pylon in the wall off style, whereas Has just puts his in the back there behind and puts the 2 gateways in front. So a little bit of a different style. They effectively do pretty much the same. They're pretty much the same. It's not a huge difference. It's just a different style of doing things. And now, standard starts from both sides. In an early probe scout from Has last game, faking the cannon rush. But this game, he's not going to do that. Just going to wait, see how things play out. Can't really fake it twice. Or I suppose you could really get the mind games going early on in the series. I think probably the way to do it is like fake it 2 games in a row and then actually cannon rush on the 3rd or something. But Has had his fun. And will not do anything crazy for the time being. Showtime with the scout. And well, Has will not pick up the probe. Cybercore is finished. Stalker Sentry versus Stalker Sentry. So, same openings. The double Adept opening for Showtime worked great in the last game. Or, excuse me, in the first game. In the last game, he decided, Stalker Sentry, like Has been doing the entire time. But the double Adept won in the game in Game 1. Or at least got him the advantages, and then he capitalized on it with some more Adepts and some more attacks and just kind of ended the game. Off 2 bases with just more units and attacked. While Has is continuing trying to expand. The Stargate does go down for Has. Stargate as well for Showtime. This probe will get away for the time being. Stalker just going to patrol. Expansion for Showtime. Has not expanding quite as fast. Guys put down the shield battery. Sentry on the high ground as well. So if this does complete and there's no real aggression from either side, this does mean Showtime is slightly ahead of Has in terms of economy. It's not a huge difference if Has does get his expansion up soon. But he's sitting on 200 minerals here. He's not going to get it for a little bit. So he's a little bit behind economically. He's made more workers in lieu of that actual Nexus, but now it does go down. So Showtime just kind of invested a little bit more minerals into the expansion a little bit earlier. Now we do have Phoenixes coming out of the Stargate for Haz, and the Stargate for Showtime as well. The hallucinated Phoenix will come in. Will not spot much of anything. Has actually stopped. Now we'll see it. Now we'll see the Stargate. He knows he knows there's double Phoenix there, and more being made for Showtime. Same thing on the other side though. Has, so pretty much standard builds being followed for both sides. And actually double gas being added here for Has on this third base. We got a depth shading in. They will get past the probe, and they'll cancel. Get excited there for a second. Now the Adepts will head back. But yeah, double gas is not something Has takes very often. He doesn't do that very often. Now finally the gateways will be transformed here. Has was a little late on that one. Oh, 4 Phoenixes being sent across for Showtime, now in the middle of the map. More being made on the back, and a second Stargate being added on. Has quite a few Phoenixes of his own, but will definitely lose out on a straight-up Phoenix war if it comes to that, because he just doesn't have a second Stargate. So he can't produce them as fast. And he isn't producing them right now. These depths will get in, but immediately picked up. And will most likely go down. And they will. Got gateways. A Dark Shrine being added on after this Twilight Council. So, again, Dark Templars 4 Has. Detection is a little bit harder to come by for Protoss, in that their detection has to be, made in an Observer or an Oracle. So it's a little bit harder to get access to, whereas Zerg, you can make an Overseer a little bit easier to get your hands on. And the hallucinated Phoenix coming across. This is a lot of Phoenixes here, and Has does not have that many. He's got Stalkers though, so if there is an attack, he can potentially repel it. Even though he has less Phoenixes, he's got some more units that shoot upwards, so that can always help. Showtime adding more Phoenixes on. He's gonna go in. Phoenix is here. Big fight already. Many taken out. Just 4 left for Has, and Showtime's got a lot more. He's gonna take a lot of probes down here, and he's also spotted the Dark Shrine. Oh, Showtime. Well, he's not doing anything with them right now. He's gonna pick up the probe and kill him. Unfortunately, there's been a counterattack on the backside for Has. The Dark Templars are getting in, but these Phoenixes can get a lot of damage done on their own. The Dark Templars, though, are hitting away at this. The Dark Templars can kill the kill the pylon to depower this. No Oracles will come out. No Observers either. The Oracles, the Phoenix is going to head back. The Oracles are going to come out. One gets 2 actually, but a third here. Dark Templar is into the main base here and taking out probes. Dark Templar's working away. Phoenix is going to come back and pick up 1, but still 1 Dark Templar, not revealed yet, will get revealed by the Oracle, but a lot of damage picked up on Has. Still on the opposite side, though. A lot of probes killed off for Has, but now more Dark Templars coming in, and I don't think they have enough energy here to actually spot them. No energy left. Now this Dark Templar can kill the Stargate and kill the detection. Oh, not enough energy is now gained. But 1 Stargate gets unpowered along with 2 gateways in the Cyber Core. And on the other side, Dark Templars have been killing probes in this. Oh, no, not enough. Not enough detection there. He built the Oracles and not the Observer out of the Robo, so he didn't have enough detection, He just didn't have enough energy to put Revelations on all of them. So the Dark Templars, just more were made, and As was able to kill the probes, and once all your probes are gone, you've got many problems, so another game here for Has.
moving to 2-1 on the series now, taking a lead. Next game will be on Redshift, which is again another sort of chaotic map we were talking about earlier. Can create a lot of interesting scenarios. You know, in the last series has sort of delayed Cannon Rush a gold base. And in a Scarlet versus Serral series, Scarlet actually built spine crawlers and had them run over to Serral's gold base, and the creep had spread past the gold mineral line. So what ended up happening was she just put the spines down and started hitting all of his drones. And she just killed a bunch of drones that way. The spines did fall, but it got her an advantage, and she ended up winning that game. It was a really interesting game because it was just such a clever way to do it. Building the spine crawlers on her own side and then running them over to the enemy creep. You only see that in like crazy ZVZ cheeses where people send a bunch of drones over with a bunch of Zerglings on a 12 pool, and then... But it was a clever use because the creep naturally spreads past that mineral line. Okay. And coming in now, we are in game 4. Gonna be on a red shift. It's a best of 5, so Has now on match point. And he is in the bottom left-hand corner in the red, looking to take the series. In the top left-hand corner, though, we have Showtime, the blue Protoss, who's looking to strike back here. And Has sitting on an early probe again. He's been kind of changing things up. Oh, and we do get a Forge going down, so this will be a Cannon Rush. Second probe being sent out here. And, well, I'm not sure where he'll start this. Again, there's the pylon here at the front, sort of the front of the wall, instead of in the back. So you create a different wall off. And because that pylon's, you know, more exposed, if you Cannon Rush from the low ground and are able to get high ground vision, you can definitely kill that pylon and depower those buildings. Has, though, on the other side, he's going to come in and start Cannon Rushing from the left-hand side, not even near where everything is for Showtime. One probe will be stopped, but he's going to slip by. And will not be able to deny the gases, because Showtime has already made those, but now a cannon started. I don't believe Showtime sees this. He has not seen it yet. He's going to start the Cybernetics Core, but there's cannons in your base, dude. You just don't know it yet. Slowly, Showtime has going to sort of extend these cannons. The gate is canceled from Showtime. He's going to spot this now. The gateway going down. Quick cancel there. Some more cannons being added on, along with some more pylons to keep those powered. But looks like Showtime's just canceled, and now there's a there's a probe going out. I think he's gonna... Okay, he's got enough minerals, probably gonna start another Nexus. He's just given up on this one. The two probes working away at the Nexus. He's now gonna cancel one of those cannons to try and get one closer to the Nexus so it can actually hit it. I think this one is in range. No, not quite. Just a little bit off. Stalker going to be produced here from Showtime. And Has not going to produce anything from his gateway. He's sending the probes out, perhaps suspecting this expansion. Cybernetics Core will go down at home. Now the cannons are completing, so this will take down a couple probes in the Nexus eventually. Doesn't look like Showtime's going to be able to stop this. Stargate's going to be added on in the corner for him. He has started another Nexus on the other side, building some gases. Has is going to steal those in the meantime, though. So no gas is going to be available to him, and Has knows this. Has knows that there is an expansion, so he's going to have to stay on this to actually kill all of them. It's probably Showtime hasn't pulled all his probes and just had them run out to the other base. He knows it's already known where it is, so giving up that information isn't really a problem. He's going to keep some of these mining for the meantime, but there's a bunch sitting idle in the back here. an Oracle being produced. So he's going to try and get, some units out before he has to give up the entirety of his base. Now the Stalker coming in is going to go ahead and work on the gateway. The Oracle comes out and got a dead base there. So now the game is going to change here. We've got, instead of starting in the top left-hand corner, we're going to start in the middle of the right-hand side. This Oracle, though, is going to come in. There's not a ton of defenses at home. A shield battery is being started, but it's not going to complete in time. The Stalker not going to take out the Oracle either. The probes are pulled to try and save him, but there's not a lot here to defend one cannon. Probes are going to run to the safety of that, but Oracle will get out. A couple probes, 2 taken down. Has suffers minimal losses, but still some losses now that Pylon's going to be unpowered. And, well, the Stargate along with it. So, a successful cannon rush for Haz, but a bunch of gateways going down now for Showtime. He is supply blocked currently. Haz does not know about these gateways, which is important to note. He's trying to build the pylon in the corner here. Will be spotted by Showtime. Perhaps trying to set up another proxy or just have a place to warp in. And, oh, that probe will be spotted. It's a very dead probe. Warp Gate can end up finishing for Haz now. The Cybercore is going to be killed. So that
And a bunch of gateways. And once he gets that Cybercore up, he can just build a bunch of Stalkers or Adepts. Stargate being added on for Haz. This Oracle just chilling in the base in the meantime. Now we got Stalkers on the other side fighting, and Haz does not have as many, so generally that means you'll lose. A couple warp-ins here as Haz has built another proxy pylon. And these Stalkers, I don't know if they'll come in fast enough. A couple trades there. So Haz now does have more, but more warped in at home. So it becomes even again. Unfortunately, there are shield batteries in the back here for Showtime. Showtime's going to retreat to those, heal up some of his Stalkers, and now Haz is going to lose this fight for certain. Another one goes down, just 4 left for Haz. Still, both players on the one base are not moving to any more right now, and Haz is getting chased away. That proxy pylon with the... well, not for long. The proxy pylon and the probe are definitely going to go down. Didn't last very long. And the Cybercore actually didn't get killed in either the Stargate, which is kind of relevant because he can repower these at some point if he sneaks over there, and Haz doesn't really have vision of those with the cannons in the gate, so it's kind of relevant if he's able to repower those. Adepts going shading across here, certainly not enough to fight all these Stalkers, and they will be spotted out. Haz looking elsewhere, and I think both these Adepts will go down. The Shade comes in, but I don't know if he's going to get away. Will not. Both those Adepts go down. On the other side, a Phoenix coming through from Haz. Haz has suffered many more losses, though, almost double the losses in minerals or resources. Shield batteries going down along with that original cannon at the front, but this is a lot of Stalkers for Showtime. The Revelation comes down. He sees everything now in terms of the army in the buildings there. And another expansion being started from Showtime. So now Haz is actually in a spot where he's behind. Right now, Showtime is in control of the game despite getting cannon rushed at the start of it. An successful one, too. Haz was able to sneak those behind. Sneak those cannons in behind. Showtime had no idea, but abandoning the base ended up being the right move. Just abandoned and went somewhere else. But now these Phoenixes find themselves in a bad place. One goes down. A little bit careless from Haz. Might be able to pick off the Oracle, which is a nice pickup if he can get that Oracle. We'll end up getting it in the end, which is a nice pickup there, but losing one Phoenix for nothing. Another one comes out, but I don't know if he can mass enough Phoenixes quickly enough to actually start getting through this, because Showtime's just made completely Stalkers. He's pretty much made only Stalkers for his ground units, which, shuts down those Phoenixes. They want to try and harass him on the mineral, and he's got enough to just kill the Phoenixes very quickly, so I don't know if Haz will ever actually be able to get enough damage in.
Showtime now showing up with the proxy pylon. I'm not sure if he's intending to make a base there eventually or what that is, but he's making a pylon. We've seen an hallucinated Phoenix coming out from Showtime. In the meantime, though, we've got Haz sending his 3 Phoenixes over. And like I said, here's the Stalkers. They kill those Phoenixes very fast. Another one lost. Another careless loss from Haz. And these Phoenixes are not going to find their way in anytime soon. Haz has started a gold base here, and it's going to finish. And he's going to be able to mine from that. And that might get him back into this game in terms of income, but right now he's super far behind. Still, the gold base is a huge increase in your income. Will it be enough, though? I don't know. Showtime has already saturated 2 bases, and has not. He's down to quite a few workers. Now the Stalker is looking for something. He sees the gold base. He sees all his probes trying to take them out over the mineral line, and he will get quite a few here. 2, almost a third go down. Now crested the 10-minute mark, and Showtime, you wouldn't think it, but all of a sudden, he's in control. Now the one Immortal trying to take on a whole army, but that's not going to be enough. On the other side, Haz is using some oracles to harass those probes, but he's losing his gold base right now, and I don't think he really has enough to warp in here and stop Showtime. Those oracles are forced away, and Showtime's just destroying Haz's army right now. He has nothing on the ground. Just a couple Stalkers and an Immortal left. And, well, Showtime has a lot more Stalkers and more Immortals. So, I don't think he can win this fight. Charge is going to finish up for Showtime if he wants to work in, but it's not going to matter. He's going to take the game. After a successful cannon rush from Haz, he ends up losing it, building a Nexus on the completely the other side of the map. He ends up taking the game. Evening the series up 2-2, forcing it to a Game 5. Which will take place on Dreamcatcher. A map that has had a lot of success on in this series, in this tournament, in WCS Valencia, because he's been very aggressive about taking the gold bases in the middle, in the top of the map. He'll just take them. He'll just take them as his first expansion. He'll just send a probe up there and just take it. And a lot of times it ends up getting scouted, but it ends up getting scouted so late that Haz already mining from it, and he's got control of the map using adepts, just playing aggressively, massing charge loss and just sitting outside his enemy's base on their side of the map. And it's like, well, I can't really take out his base because he's pressuring me, and I could try to counterattack, but if I send all my forces over there, Haz is just going to kill me. And once he started mining from it, he's going to have a better economy, and he is all about those minerals because he wants to make a bunch of charge lots. And if you give him more minerals than normal on a base, well, that spells trouble for you. But it will be the deciding map. And certainly had some interesting games this series. And I doubt this Game 5 will disappoint. And on the right-hand side, in the blue, we've got our Protoss player. It's Showtime. On the other side, though, on the left, in the red, we've got another Protoss player with a series tied 2-2. It's Haz. And a pylon on the low ground for Haz to start up a gateway.
Showtime has been all about walling off with the pylon in the wall as well, and Haz is going to do the same, but it's going to be on the low ground instead of the high ground, as is sort of customary in Protoss matchups. You just kind of wall up from a high ground usually.
But Haz ain't about that. He's going to go for the low ground and build a second gateway and send the probe out. Dreamcatcher is certainly a very feature-full map. It's got a lot of things, gold bases, rocks in the middle. You can knock down and create more rocks, as well as a very interesting setup in the bases, both with ramps and high ground. So ramps and narrow choke points to the high ground. Showtime going to send his probe in, and he'll see that the wall off is on the high ground, or he's on the low ground as compared to his on the high ground. Probe's still going to spot here. Cybercore finishes, and now has probe is chased away. Double stalker here for Showtime, and double adept for Haz. In game 1, Showtime went for the double adept and ended up winning that game with a great early harass, taking out a bunch of probes. Both sides just setting their probes in, keeping tabs on what's going on here. Once Showtime sees that it's double adept, that'll definitely trigger him to try and put a probe near the wall to wall off with. And immediately, those adepts are sent out. Another stalker being made for Showtime. Haz making one as well. And they're going to head out. I think they might miss the adepts. If these stalkers miss the adepts, they're in for a... Showtime could be in a real bad spot. Especially if he's not able to get the wall off in time. Does have a probe down here, but it's out at the mineral line right now. And the shade's going to come through. On the other side, the stalkers are working away at the high ground. Has his stalker here to defend, as well as one more being made. On the other side, Haz gets his adepts in. That's going to force the recall. Now 2 stalkers come back and should be able to deal with these adepts. A third one coming on after being produced out of that gateway, but quite a bit of damage. 10 probes go down. 10 of Showtime's probes dead. And now Haz up 28 to 15 workers. In the meantime, though, Showtime building a shield battery on the low ground off this pylon. He's probably going to use that to warp in as well once that warp gate is completed, which it will be very soon for both sides. Stargate being added on for Showtime as well. One Phoenix just patrolling there. Right now, a gateway being added on. You're going to use that gateway to get the quick warp-ins. Now these stalkers are going to come up. Showtime could send an air unit over to try and get himself high ground vision, but has his own air units to try and deny that. His target has already produced 3 Phoenixes, not producing any more right now, but the stalkers massing on the low ground. The shield battery's here, another one warping in. It's a slow warp in, and the warp gate is not completed yet. When that warp gate completes, we're able to produce quite a few stalkers very quickly. He's going to try to take out this pylon so he can get onto the high ground. Then a shield battery being added on, 2 already here, but ends up getting canceled because there's no pylon. He's going to have to remake that pylon. Now the stalkers, they get trapped here. Like, quite trapped. They were denied. And now the Phoenix is going to come in and try and kill some of these stalkers. They're able to pick up one and kill one. Haz, though, has a lot at the front here. His expansion is going to go up as well. Haz can hold this. He'll be way ahead economically, as Showtime is not an expansion yet. These Phoenixes are aiming to pick up 1 stalker and 2. Phoenix from Showtime comes in. We'll be able to take down one of Haz Phoenixes. But he picked up another stalker that'll get him the kill. Now his Phoenix will not be targeted down. He picks up another stalker and gets the kill. Stalker being warped in here for Haz, but one of his gateways is depowered. These pylons not quite in the right place. Haz not able to get many workers up. All of them are still back up on the high ground. He should send those over to the natural to try and mine from it, but he's got a lot of things on his mind right now. trying to deny these stalkers. Shield battery being made for both sides. More force fields to try and keep these stalkers away. One gets trapped. Will be able to stay on the high ground and just work away at one of these pylons. So many stalkers here, but now a Void Ray comes out for Haz. He's going to take down one of these stalkers with a well-placed force field. Another stalker being warped in. It's just constant warp into stalkers for both sides. This Void Ray going to change up the fight a little bit. Another sentry coming down. If one of the gateways gets dropped, it doesn't really matter because that was already depowered. Opens up a little bit more room here. There's a lot of shield batteries on both sides. Haz just holding on the high ground. Still is that oversaturated main base. Not send any of those workers down. This gateway will most likely be taken down as well. Still has a cybernetics core, which is huge, so he can still make stalkers and sentries and other advanced units. More warp-ins for both sides. The Phoenix going to go aggressively forward, going to force Showtime's Phoenix back. Void Ray's coming out for another Void Ray coming out for Haz. Both shield batteries. Oh, all three shield batteries now. At the front are down for down in energy for Haz. All the energy is actually on the ones in the back. You have to run back to those. Now coming to an attack is Haz. Showtime trying to move up this ramp, but he just does not have enough to get up yet. He's going to take out these zealots, and then maybe he can move up. But Haz, with more workers, just has more resources to work with. Showtime does not have a lot. These Void Rays, picks it up with the Phoenix, and able to get one stalker again. He's chipping away, killing his stalkers, and even though he's lost more units, he's been able to produce more, and now the Void Ray coming in. Another good pickup on the Phoenix. These Void Rays have been crucial as well, denying this attack. Stalkers continuing to push forward. Another shield battery is completed. More warp-ins, but it has more resources right now. Showtime, though, has more units on the board. The Void Ray going to go to work. The Phoenix trying to kill that Void Ray. That's a crucial unit to kill, but the shield battery is keeping everything alive for Haz. Along with Showtime, the shield batteries have been crucial for both sides. The Phoenix charging forward onto the Void Ray, but the shield batteries can give him the edge in that fight. Now these stalkers still going to work here. Haz has the workers on the natural expansion now, so that the main base isn't completely saturated as well as natural. So he's just got way more resources here. Not very much gas income though. Has not made gases on the natural. That Zealot just charging forward to death. Haz keeps making Zealots, but they don't have charge or any upgrades, so they just run in and die. Both sides producing more units, but it's just been a stalemate here at the front, which definitely favors Haz in the end. If he can just hold on, he's in a great place to win this game. Now he's pushing him back. He's pushed all the way down the ramp. A Zealot will go down. Void Ray charging forward. The force field unable to find anything. Another Stalker. The shield battery keeps it alive, but eventually goes down. The shield battery's all out of energy here for Showtime. Just no energy on these shield batteries. Haz is a little bit, but not very much. Now an Adept warped in, just does not have the gas to make another Stalker. The Adept also gives you high ground vision without having to put your Phoenix in harm's way with that shade. The Void Ray and the rest of the squad coming forward, but still the stalemate here. And again, Haz just tries to play the game, and Haz is going to end up taking the game. Showtime cannot break the high ground, and if he cannot break the high ground, he cannot take the game. So Haz will take the series 3-2, bring him to the finals versus Cyril. Thanks for watching. That was the semifinals from WCS Valencia, Showtime versus Haz. A fun series and a little bit of a crazy game. In the end, Haz actually ended up winning by having more bases and having more resources in Game 5, which is definitely not how he plays most of his games, but trying new things, and that expansion played a huge role, just had more resources and was able to hold the high ground. Even a little bit sloppy on the micro, and the way he placed his buildings, his pylons weren't quite in the right place, but ended up coming out on top anyway. A really nice series. Anyway, that'll do it for me, so thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. And I think we'll do the final Serral versus Haz another day.